Hello, everyone. Cecil Martin here.
Hey, this is Hunter Henry.
What's up, man? This is Max Crosby, part of Raider Nation.
Hey, this is Ross Tucker, former NFL offensive lineman.
Hey, it's Tyler Lockett of the Seattle Seahawks.
Hey, this is Jerry Judy, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and you're listening to the 14-Yard NFL Podcast.
It is here. Super Bowl 60 is on Sunday night, where we'll see the Seattle Seahawks and New England Patriots battle for the Vince Lombardi Trophy at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. You are listening to the Full 10 Yards NFL podcast. I'm your host, Sam Moores, and today I'm joined by Charlie Wilson, who covers the sport for UK media outlets such as The Mirror, The Express, and The Irish Star. He was a coach of the game over here and is coming off a tremendous season as defensive coordinator of the Scunthorpe Alphas. This is the main show for the Full 10 Yards NFL Podcast Network, which is your home for British commentary on the NFL. Welcome back if you are a regular listener. It's great to have you with us again. And if you're new around here, welcome. If you enjoy the show today, please make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube, or if you're listening on your preferred platform, whether it be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or something like that, feel free to leave us a review. It really helps us reach more NFL fans both in the UK and across the pond as well. And what a fascinating Super Bowl we have on our hands. Going into the season, the Seahawks and the Pats were at 60-1 and 80-1 odds to win the Super Bowl. No team in the past 2 decades has ever won a Super Bowl, having gone into the season with worse than 40-1 odds. So this is the most unexpected Super Bowl in history. It's one that I cannot wait to preview. Welcome back to the podcast, Charlie, mate. You are, of course, a Seahawks fan. Getting nervous by any chance?
I've been nervous for 2 weeks. I've been nervous for months, to be honest. Ever since I've had the idea, I've been thinking that Seattle can do it this year, which, I was confident at the start of the year. I'm sure we'll speak about that, but I did not think they would go this far. And now, seeing the team that they have, it's like, it's made it more nerve-wracking because it can happen, right? With the game being so close, you're checking for injuries, you're checking for all this, but it's a nice feeling to have the team back in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. Seahawks and Patriots fans have had plenty of winning seasons over the years. It just shows, the NFL doesn't think about parity, but sometimes if you have a good organization, or if you fall into something, in the Patriots case, you can certainly have a long spread, long sort of period of wins, maybe even a potential Super Bowl. Both these teams have won Super Bowls, within this century, since the turn of millennium. So it's certainly, and obviously the Patriots have won plenty of Super Bowls since the turn of millennium as well. So it's certainly going to be a weird Super Bowl, because it's sort of throwing it back to the early teens, really. What a season it's been. It's been such an unexpected season. As I said, this is the most unexpected Super Bowl of all time in terms of odds. These two teams were nowhere in terms of the preseason odds. In fact, none of the top 7 teams in preseason Super Bowl odds made conference title games for the first time since 2008, which is just crazy. And this is also the first postseason since 2008 without either Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes. There were also an NFL record 7 wins by teams down 15 points in the fourth quarter this season, including the playoffs. There had never been more than 4 such comebacks in a season in league history. So games are going down to the wire, games are really close, and we've seen a lot of more upsets this year than we have done in previous years. I'm going to put you on the spot here, Charlie. Is there a moment that particularly stood out to you this season?
As a Seahawks fan, obviously I'm going to lean towards a Seattle win, and it would be that Rams win in the regular season in week 17, where you saw the teams go back to back to back 30 all in normal time. And then Puka Nacua scores an overtime touchdown, and then Sam Darnold drives 80 yards, scores a 2-point conversion, and wins the game for the first time in NFL history. A team gives up a touchdown in overtime and wins the game. That was just an incredible win, and that really propelled Seattle to where they are now. I think there's been so many good games. It's really hard to think of one. It's been one of those seasons. I think a lot of fans seem to think that because of Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes not being in the playoffs, it's been a bit of a down season. I don't feel that way. Yes, I'm biased, but do you not want to see this happen? Do you not want to have the belief that any team can get to the Super Bowl? Because that's what's happened this year. And it just goes to show that, you might think your Super Bowl window is closed. It's really not. You just have to go on a little bit of a run, get a better look here and there. And this year has shown us that. And it's just been the most enjoyable year for a very long time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I've absolutely loved this one as a neutral. For me, I think I'll always remember that Jameis Winston touchdown reception against the Giants. Against the Lions for the Giants. I mean, that was a terrific play. Obviously, it won the NFL Player of the Year at the end of the season. They did the compilation on Red Zone, and it won that. And on the celebration afterwards was just tremendous as well. That's certainly a moment I'll always remember. And there are plenty others as well. I mean, when the Patriots lost to the Raiders, who would have thought they'd be in the Super Bowl right now? It's such a crazy season. In fact, after that game, I said, I'm tired of this. I can't believe New England went and just I've seen this Josh McDaniels offense so many times before. I want something new. I hate that kind of thing. And I mean that that continuity for New England is basically what got them to the Super Bowl. It just shows how much has changed over the course of this season. Right, to start a podcast, Charlie, I'm interested. If you could describe these two teams in 3 words, how would you do it?
I mean, what, both teams in the same 3 words?
Okay. Three each. Just go 3 each.
Okay, it's 3. Let's start with Seattle. I mean, energetic, young, feisty for Seattle. I think, they are a ferocious defense. They look for big plays on offense. I mean, just a fun team to watch. They're the most fun team, Seahawks team I've seen in a very long time. And I think New England, you have to go with things like explosive, unexpected, and efficient. I think what they do on both sides of the ball, they do nothing spectacularly well, but they just do everything really well. And that's kind of like a core principles of a good Bill Belichick New England team, and it really feels like they've got that, culture back within the team, and they have no real weaknesses. At the same time, they have no, oh wow, how do we stop that guy? But they are just really, really tight everywhere. It makes them a tough team to play.
Right, let's start the podcast by giving the lowdown on both teams and how they got here, then move on to the keys to victory, and then finish with our predictions. And we'll start with the Seahawks, as they are the designated road team for this game, although they actually are wearing the home colours in this game, which is obviously the home team gets the choice of what they want to do, and the Patriots have gone for white. Look, when Seattle fired Super Bowl 48 winning head coach Pete Carroll after one of just 1 playoff appearances in 4 seasons, many expected Seattle to sort of hit the reset button after a couple of poor drafts. I don't even think, Charlie, you would have thought that a Super Bowl appearance within 2 years would have been possible back then. But I mean, here we are. John Schneider's had 2 outstanding draft classes since getting the final say in draft decisions, and Mike Macdonald has done a tremendous job coaching these players. 11 wins last year. Were unlucky to miss out on the playoffs. So only a couple teams have done that in NFL history. And 16-3 so far this year, with their 3 losses being by a combined 9 points. I saw a great stat in the Ringer the other day. According to McDonald's Seahawks are the 6th best team since 1978, according to DVOA. Only the 1991 Redskins, the 1985 Bears, the 2007 Patriots, the 1989 49ers, and the 96 Packers have had better statistical seasons than this Seahawks team. And the 07 Patriots are the only team to not go on and win the Super Bowl that season. That obviously of all these teams, are the greatest DVOA teams of all time. And even they came incredibly close, the 07 Patriots, as well. Obviously, a big factor in Seattle's success is their defense. It was the number 1 ranked scoring defense in the NFL this season, obviously called by Mike Macdonald. What has made that defense so good, Charlie?
Mike Macdonald. He's the best defensive play caller in the league, and I don't think it's that close. The things that he does to quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, he just puts them in disarray, simulated pressures, throwing things that they've probably not seen before. These the stems on the defensive line, the stunts that they run, how they use Byron Murphy, Leonard Williams, they just make it so. What it starts with is that you can't run on Seattle. I mean, you get in third and long, and then you get some crazy pressures thrown at you. Quarterbacks second guess themselves, and they just make mistakes. It's at the start of the season when we did this podcast, I said that Seattle doesn't really have any superstar players, and that still might be true. But what they just do extremely well is play all 11 men in sync just really, really well. It's assignment-based football at its finest. And McDonald deserves all the credit in the world for that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned in that podcast, I mentioned actually on a couple of podcasts over the years how much I really like the young players on this defense, whether it be Byron Murphy, Devin Witherspoon. I mean, Nick Emanwari, he's been the Kyle Hamilton do-it-all guy. He was hyped up to be ahead of the draft in April. Obviously, he has immense physical profile as well. It was measurables going into the draft, which is crazy. And yeah, he's had a great year. Obviously, he's just picked up an injury. It sounds like he might play, but that's something to watch heading in to this Super Bowl. And obviously, like I mentioned, those young guys, but some oldies have been tremendous in this unit too. I know how much of a big fan you are of Leonard Williams.
Yeah, Leonard Williams has just been fantastic. Me and you, Sam, we both bemoaned the way Seattle used Byron Murphy, and they have used him the same way this year. But Byron Murphy just taken a big leap at nose tackle. But the reason he has to play at nose tackle is because Leonard Williams is just too good at free tech, and he just wrecks games. He'll have periods where he goes quite quiet, but man, every drive or two, he's making a big play but behind the line of scrimmage, whether it be a run or a pass. Real explosive. The way he uses his strength is just outrageous. He's a really, really underrated player. And I'm glad that he's getting a lot of plaudits because he's been one of the best players on the defensive line over the last 3 years. He really has.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you can't forget DeMarcus Lawrence either. I mean, with a sack and a forced fumble, he would be the first ever player to achieve a sack and a forced fumble in 3 consecutive playoff games in one playoff campaign. No one has ever done that before. He's done that in every game of the playoffs so far. And again, yeah, he's up there in age now, and he's certainly showing no signs of slowing down. Before we move on to the offense, I can't not ask you about Aiden Dirty, the defense coordinator of the Seahawks, who could become the first international coach to win a Super Bowl. He's of course British. He grew up in Enfield, which is in North London. It's just a stone's throw away from me. And he played the game over here. He coached the game over here. Got the chance to be on a couple of practice squads in the NFL as a player before then get the chance to coach in the NFL with the Cowboys and the Falcons, working his way up from the bottom. Multiple internship, that kind of thing, before making his way up, learning a lot of Dan Quinn before Mike Macdonald hired him as DC when joining Seattle. I mean, what a story, Charlie.
Yeah, it's great. I've interviewed AD a few times. He's a really, really, really genuine guy as well. He's a teacher. He's one of those guys where he doesn't just coach the what, he coaches the why as well. And that's something, even in the NFL, players really, really appreciate. A very detailed guy. Because he's British, he's had to really prove himself for a long time. He's just worked so hard over the last, 11 years. He's been in the NFL now, and he deserves this. He's, he doesn't call plays. He doesn't come up with the scheme. He doesn't, have much of a say in what the plan is. But he coaches what the guys must do to an absolute T. And I'm really excited for the future of Dirty. I think in maybe a year we're talking about him becoming a head coach in the NFL.
Well, he's already had the interviews, hasn't he? So he was added to the interview cycle this year, and there's. I mean, certainly if Seattle win a Super Bowl this year, there's I'm sure he'll get some more in future years as well. we mentioned, started the Seattle defense. It is so good, but they also have a pretty neat offense. The number 8 scoring and total offense, which I don't think many people would have expected. Again, when they moved on from probably two of their best offensive players in recent times in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, and then also the quarterback as well, Geno Smith, who had some really decent, especially statistically, in his time in Seattle. Sam Darnold is the big storyline on the offensive side of the football for Seattle. It's hardly a surprise why. A few years ago, Darnold, former 3rd overall pick by the Jets, was considered a huge bust. It wasn't until he joined Minnesota last year, who were the 4th franchise that he's played for, that he had shown anything close to his potential. And 2 years after joining the Vikings, he was set to start in the Super Bowl. Now Darnold joins Tom Brady as the only 2 quarterbacks in NFL history with 14 wins or more in 2 straight seasons. 2 quarterbacks in NFL history have also won 14 games in their first season after changing teams. They are Sam Darnold in 2024 and Sam Darnold in 2025. And here is the best stat of them all, Charlie. Darnold has 78.3 pass rating between 2018 and 2023. That was his first 6 seasons in the NFL. That was the worst passer rating in the NFL over that period. He is now preparing to start a Super Bowl. No one has had a turnaround like that in NFL history. He'd be the first person to have a pass rating that bad in their first 6 years and win a Super Bowl. Talk to me about Darnold. Obviously, his time in Minnesota and then now in Seattle. I mean, look, he has transformed, you could say.
He really has. If anyone listens to this podcast, I urge you to go watch Sam Darnold's first ever pass in the NFL. It was a rollout. I think it was a rollout to the right, and he threw across his body, the other side of the field, a pick 6 by Quandre Diggs, who is actually now on the Seahawks again. It was a horrible throw, and he made those awful decisions for 4 years, really, until he got into Minnesota. And then he just started to take what was there, and he started to trust his instincts and trust his abilities with his arm, because he's got real good arm talent. I was at the game in London where the Vikings beat, I think it was the Jets, and he had just, his persona, his humility had just changed, and he knew that he needed to change, or he wasn't going to get much of a chance again. He just made so many improvements to a point where he now looks like a different player. The throws he's able to make on a regular basis nowadays has me like, wow, like that's high level stuff. And again, taking what's there, being a point guard of the offense. That's all that Seattle really needs. That's what Tom Brady was for 20 years. When did Tom Brady ever make a play out of the pocket and throw it downfield 60 yards and you go, oh, wow, what a Tom Brady play? That's not how good quarterbacks always need to win. You take what's there, you do your job, you read the defense, and you move the ball. Darnold's been doing that for 2 years now, and he's just, playing at a really, really good level. I did not think it would be this good in Seattle this year, but I'm happy that he's continued his form from 2024.
And Jackson Smith-Njigba is, of course, a big help for Darnold. He led the NFL in receiving yards, despite Seattle passing the ball only 50% of the time. That's the 3rd lowest rate in the NFL. And he also broke DK Metcalf's single-season receiving yards record with 6 games to go. That's how good of a season Jackson Smith-Njigba had this year. Talk to me about him.
Yeah, he's when you watch Jackson Smith-Njigba, you're like, right, well, why is he this good? Because he's not that fast and he's not that strong. What he is just a master technician. He feels leverage. He's an expert route runner, obviously. Great hands, really good understanding of the game. And I think Cooper Kupp has been a real has helped his career exponentially. The way Cooper Kupp has made a career of finding soft spots in zones, getting himself open and getting those extra yards is what JSN has done all season long, to an elite level. He probably was held back by DK Metcalf last season because he really needed to be the number 1 option. Now he is back in Seattle. He's just exploded. And the way Clint Kubiak has used him in recent weeks, Clint Kubiak, by the way, he was under pressure. There's been a lot of buzz of how great Kubiak's been, and that's true. But in November and December, Seattle really, really struggled to a point where some fans wanted Kubiak gone. But the way he's used JSN over the last 5 or 6 games has just been really, really creative. We see him in the backfield. We see him, in motion all the time, and they just find ways to get him open. And then GSN just does the rest. He's the best receiver in Seahawks history.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. And you think about it, that mold of receiver is often what can win you a Super Bowl. You think about like sort of Cooper Kupp, Julian Edelman's, that mold of receiver, guys who can just get open in the middle of the field, is what can win you a Super Bowl. So that's certainly a good omen for Seattle. You mentioned Clint Kubiak there. We'll talk about him before we go to talking about New England. Obviously, he's expected to become the head coach of the Raiders. He's had some amazing games as an offense coordinator, not just this year for Seattle, but also in New Orleans. In New Orleans last year. Before all their injuries, they were one of the hottest teams in the league in the first month of the season, winning 3, and then kind of really close to against the Eagles, who again were the eventual Super Bowl champions. I mean, and then it all went to pot, but that earned Kubiak this role, and now he's going to become a head coach. He's going to get probably the first overall draft pick to select a quarterback as well. What are you expecting for him as a head coach?
Yeah, it's exciting for Las Vegas because they're going to get an offensive guy who runs the scheme, which is now the best in the NFL. This wide zone stack formation, multiple slot receivers, motion. It just really seems to be working with Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay mode of offense. I think the Raiders should be really pleased about Kubiak. He's not the most enigmatic leader. He's actually quite, respectively, he's a bit boring to listen to. But I think he's one of those guys. Well, Matt McDonald's a bit boring as well. He's just efficient in what he does. He's a football guy through and through. He'll be the first one in, last one out. And he will bring his scheme, will probably bring all his coaches with him from Seattle, who are John Benton, who's one of the best offensive line coaches in the league. He's got a few quarterback coaches that he'll bring with him. With Mendoza at quarterback and some of the players, with Brock Bowers, they should be excited about what they're getting, Clint Kubiak. And Seattle, I know some fans wanted him gone, but it's a big, big loss for Seattle. They're going to have to try and find an next offensive coordinator when most of the main guys have already been taken. So it's going to be interesting to see where Seattle go. But yeah, big addition for Las Vegas.
Okay, let's go on to talking about the Patriots now. I mean, what a story they have been. Going from 4 wins and last place in the AFC East in 2024 to AFC East winners and another AFC Championship win as well. I use the word another there because this is New England's 12th Super Bowl appearance. That is the most by a team in NFL history. And a win on Sunday will see them win an NFL record 7th Super Bowl and break the 49ers record for the most postseason wins of all time as well. And again, a win will also see the Patriots become just the 3rd team since the NFL became a 32-team, 8-division league in 2002 to win the Super Bowl the season after finishing last place in a division, joining the 2017 Eagles and the 2009 Saints. And just like the Seahawks, this seems so unlikely this time last year. Former Patriots star Gerard Mayo had just been fired after 1 season with the team following Bill Belichick's long tenure, and GM Elliott Wolf had a pretty shoddy draft record, to be honest with you. But one of the players he has hit on is Drake May, and as long as you've got a star at quarterback, you've also got a chance. That's one thing that Mike Vrabel never had in Tennessee. Obviously, the head coach of the Patriots, he never had a star quarterback. He is a coach who was fired despite a 54-45 record in Tennessee, and that's a team that has now gone 6-28 since he was dismissed. Which is crazy. Obviously, there's a bit of a power struggle there, and he had a year off, and the Patriots snapped him up incredibly early in the head coach process last year. Obviously a 3-time Super Bowl champion as a player with New England. Vrabel was clearly brought back the Patriots way, which has taken many by surprise because a lot of people, including myself, thought this was quite old-fashioned, the way New England has always played. I thought the Josh McDaniels hire was a weird one at the time, but it's one that, looking back at it now, makes so much sense because the defense has the same recipe. as Patriots teams of years gone by, and then that then helps the offense. And again, it's the play calling from Josh McDaniels has been tremendous this year. And Vrabel could now become the first person to win a Super Bowl as a player and a coach with the same team. I mean, what an achievement that would be.
Yeah, they just had a magical season. Obviously Drake May is the headline here. He just taken a huge leap that I didn't see coming this early in his career. He was a prospect with a lot of mechanical issues in North Carolina. He used to do this weird thing where he would lean in the pocket and then throw that direction all the time. And it's because he was leaning, his footwork would be off. And we saw that in his rookie season in New England. And all his mistakes, his mechanical mistakes, have just been ironed out this year. And I mean, Josh McDaniels is the offensive guy in charge there, and he deserves credit. I think the step up that Drake May has made has just been massive, to a point where he's probably going to win MVP tonight. I think it's tonight, the awards night.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Stephon Diggs has been a real solid addition. He's not been the Stephon Diggs of old, but he's been enough to move the chains for New England. Guys like Hunter Henry having a crazy year. And then Mike Vrabel on the defensive side has just, transformed their defense. It has guys like Caleb on Chason getting 10 sacks a year and Harold Landry beating some elite offensive tackles. Again, like Mike McDonald, Vrabel brings a scheme that just seems to win, and he's a coach that players really respect. So New England has been a fairy tale story this season.
Absolutely, yeah. It's crazy. It really is. And I mean, let's talk about Drake May. He has had an incredible second season in the NFL, reaching the Super Bowl, which is something that only 8 quarterbacks have done in NFL history. One of those players to achieve that feat was Tom Brady, whose Patriots beat the Rams 20-17, which obviously the start of a 20-year dynasty. A lot has been made about New England's easy schedule, but they have found a way to win so many close games. Do you think reaching this Super Bowl this early in this rebuild for the Patriots will position them to have another sort of run of, certainly winning seasons?
It's really tough to say. I mean, the schedule thing, it really can't be overlooked. They beat one team with a winning record in regular season. That is nuts. Yes, they have gone on to beat 3 good teams in the playoffs, but I mean, Justin Herbert without an offensive line, CJ Stroud, who wet the bed at a monumental level. And then, they beat Jared Stidham in the AFC Championship game. This is not to play down what New England has done, but they have had a bit of a cakewalk to get here. That can't be ignored. And it's tough to see the likes of the Bengals, the Ravens, the Chiefs, even someone like some of the new teams coming up in the AFC, are they going to struggle at this? The Broncos look like they're going to be a legit team now. I think New England has a ways to go to get on that level. They're not as good as the best level of what the Bengals can be, or the Chiefs can be, or the Ravens can be. They're just not. But, they've got a lot of money to spend this offseason. They can get there. And with Drake May playing at this level, then, yeah, they can absolutely go on a run. And it could be the start of another dynasty. It's just they've got a ways to go to get to where they need to be considered like this juggernaut team, I think.
Yeah, we mentioned it there. It is NFL Honors tonight. Only 3 quarterbacks that have ever won the MVP in their second season. The winner of the award, as I said, will be announced tonight. And yeah, May is shortlisted, and he is one of the favourites. And it's hardly a surprise why, because he became the first quarterback with the NFL's best record, completion rate, and yards per attempt since Tom Brady in 2007. But it's good. I personally don't know who's going to win the award tonight. You reckon it'll be May? I think he has been more valuable to his team than Matthew Stafford as our main contender, who is the favourite for the award in terms of the odds. Anyway, I do think, in terms of the word most valuable player, I think he has been the most valuable player. The new voting system for the MVP and for all these awards is going to be fascinating this year, because last year, obviously for the first time in a while, the All-Pro quarterback which was Lamar Jackson, didn't win the MVP. Obviously, Josh Allen won the MVP. He wasn't the All-Pro quarterback. Matthew Stafford was the All-Pro quarterback this year. So again, if May wins it, it'll be the second time that happened in a row, and it's because they changed the weighting of like the second place votes and stuff as well. Makes these awards certainly less predictable, which is interesting. So you think it'll be May then tonight? Do you?
What I'm pretty sure it's actually Stafford. I'm pretty sure it is Stafford. I'm just hearing a few things. I'm pretty sure Stafford has won it. I guess what I meant to say is Drake May should win the MVP. I think he's been it's the word valuable, right? It's not the best. Yeah, Stafford has probably been the best, but Drake May has been the most valuable player to his team and his team in the Super Bowl. He's the reason why New England are here. I think the Rams, Stafford has been unbelievable, but their offensive scheme is and then Puka Nacua, he probably is the best player in the league, really. The plays about guard, mate. That's another story for the day. I think Drake May should win, but I think Stafford will win.
It's an interesting one. I think Stafford's numbers obviously is a lot more touchdown passes, for example, than Drake May does. That I think I agree with you, will probably push him towards the award. Also, for a player like that, if he wins this, it will then sort of really start a case for the Hall of Fame. And I think he's a very well liked player and things like that across the people who vote for this award. I completely agree with you. I think it probably will be Stafford, but again, I think May is a deserving winner because the way he's just put his team on his back really at points this year. If we're being honest, I think he's it's very, very similar to Josh Allen's season last year. He put the Bills on his back a lot. We think about that game against the Chiefs. That was really his MVP moment there last year. Wow, it is crazy. If Stafford does win it, with how young May is, do you think we're likely to see better seasons than this, or do you think because again, this is the fact he's had a MVP caliber season in his second year? He's not even near his prime yet.
And I think the big reason to think why he will be in this conversation again is because his offensive line's terrible. It's not very good at all. Will Campbell, who started really well, has been bad, really bad for 6 weeks in a row now. They're both guards, not good. They've got a bad rookie right guard. They've got an average center. They've got an okay right tackle. If Drake May gets average protection, good protection, and then an elite wide receiver, then receiver, he's got a very, very high ceiling. I see there's no reason why to think Drake May will fall off here. And there's a lot of reasons why this is just the start of what Drake May could be.
Yeah, absolutely. He will. Exactly. He'll be the second youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl. Do you know who the youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl is?
Is it Russell Carrington Wilson?
No, it's Dan Marino.
Okay.
He was the youngest player to start, youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl. 23 years and 127 days. There are 4 quarterbacks to have started a Super Bowl at 23. One of those is Russell Wilson. So you weren't far off. He is. Marino actually, of course, lost that Super Bowl to the 49ers. He famously never won a Super Bowl. So with a win, May would become the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and that's breaking Ben Roethlisberger's record. He has become the 5th quarterback to win a Super Bowl in their first 2 seasons. I've given you 2 there in Roethlisberger and Russell Wilson. Do you know the other 2 quarterbacks to have won the Super Bowl in the first 2 seasons?
Patrick Mahomes, right?
No,
2018.
Because obviously, because he had the year off, then 2017 didn't play.
Okay, yes. Is there any recent ones?
The most recent one is Russell Wilson. So
right, okay,
yeah. So a lot of them. Put it this way: the 2 here are over sort of 25 to 30 years ago. The two here, and
Steve Young.
One of them. One of them we've mentioned. The other one already. The Patriots. the other one we've not mentioned at all. So
we said Tom Brady.
yeah, so it's Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson. There's another guy who won the Super Bowl in his first 2 seasons.
AFC or NFC?
NFC.
Wow. Not Drew Brees. No, not Drew Brees. Not Peter Martin. No. You've stumped me here. I'm gonna. Not Brett Favre. No. Go on.
Kurt Warner.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Obviously, he was a bit older, so there is that. But obviously, within his first 2 seasons, he was the other one. I mean, going back to the Patriots, there's more to the offense than Drake May. I don't know about you, but I mean, this set of weapons has been one of the sort of nicest surprises this year. To be honest with you, you mentioned a few of them there, like Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs have been reliable, and you're looking at likes of Keyshawn Booty and players like Carl Williams making plays. There's quite a few receivers that Drake May does like on his team. And then again, like the run game. I mean, Trayvon Henderson's come on the second half of the year. Ramondre Stevenson's had some, he's overcome a lot. I mean, he had a real big fumbling issue at the start of the season, and since then he's been really, really, really good. I mean, there are some pieces on this New England offense for them, like I said, with the cap space to go and build something, isn't there?
It really is, yeah. Keyshawn Boutte, who was seen as even better than Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson at one point at LSU. He was really, they gave him the number 7 jersey, which is a real mark of honor at LSU. For whatever reason, I think he had a few off the field issues, but has really come alive as the deep threat for New England. We have Matt Collins, who that weirdo doesn't wear shoes, who has been a real good outside receiver.
He's also an elite special teams player as well, Matt Collins.
Yes, he is. And they have a lot of players like that. Pop Douglas, who's a really, really quick, feisty receiver. Kyle Williams, who was my favorite route runner in last year's draft from Washington State. And Hunter Henry had a really, really big year. I mean, you mentioned my 2 running backs in Henderson and Stevenson. Stevenson is efficient. He'll take what's there, but Henderson really has the ability to take the top off with that speed. So they have a lot going for him in New England. And a player to watch out for the listeners this weekend is number 37, Jack Westover, who is listed as a fullback, but is basically 230 pounds and plays wide receiver out of a backfield. And they ran him on a few sail routes and a few routes, a few post routes. And have me worried this weekend because he's quick and the way he gets out of a backfield is if they throw that to him, he can score. He's a good receiver. Played at Washington under Ryan Grubb. Played for Seahawks last year actually before he got injured. I liked him a lot pre-draft. I had a 6th round grade on him. He went undrafted. He's a player who to watch out for. Number 37, Jack Westover. I hope he doesn't score, but at some point they're going to try him this weekend.
Fascinating. I'll be certainly looking out for him. I mean, as for New England's defense, I mean, talk to me about how good Christian Gonzalez is, man.
Yeah, he's very, very good. He takes chances, right? He isn't afraid to jump routes. He's not afraid to get overly physical, and that sometimes sees him lose. He's actually got a bad PFF grade because of this. But he's just a playmaker. He's a shutdown corner. They play a lot of split field coverages in New England where they just zone on one side and leave Gonzalez on an island this side. And if they do it this weekend with JSN, he Gonzalez has the ability to go man away, man out with him. Real quick, real long, good ball skills, really, really good cornerback. Fascinating battle to see how New England uses him. If they do go a lot of man coverage, we've seen a lot of man this postseason, a lot of cover zero, safeties taking those chances because they trust the likes of Gonzalez and Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones. But yeah, Gonzalez is the guy, number 0 for the Patriots. Really, really good shutdown quarterback.
Their other big guy is, of course, Milton Williams. Did you know that he can become the 6th player to win a Super Bowl in consecutive seasons with different teams? The other 5, if you're interested, are LaShawn McCoy, LeGarrette Blount, Chris Long, Deion Sanders, and Ken Norton. And again, look, he had a big free agency contract in free agency. Obviously, after his postseason run with the Eagles last year, big game in the Super Bowl, and he showed exactly why they paid him that money in this postseason. He's been absolutely immense this postseason. He's had some injury issues and stuff this year, but he's hitting form at the right time. In fact, this is a great start here from ESPN. New England, their defense has amassed 57 postseason pressures, which is the 5th most since ESPN research began tracking them in 2009. I mean, you can see why the Patriots made him their highest paid player in the team history, can't you?
Yeah, it was one of those signings which at the time I didn't like. I'll be honest about it. I've written about it, so I can't pretend like it's a great sign. I didn't think that. I thought he was a good player who the Patriots paid to be great. I was wrong. He is great. When you have a guy who's 300 pounds and can rush the passer from the interior, there's not many guys like that in the league. Leonard Williams is one of those guys. Byron Murphy is one of those guys. Aaron Donald, obviously, is the guy who did that at an elite level. Cameron Hayward. There's not many of these guys in the league. To have one is so important because it pushes the pocket back, and that makes it much easier for the guys on the end to rush the passer because the quarterback is stood further back, more pass rush moves that they can use with more angles. Milton Williams really pushes the pocket, and he's just been fantastic. I think he's had 40 pressures this season. He's been really, really good and worth every single penny. He's transformed their defense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'll get on to talking about the keys to victory now, where this game could be won and lost for each team. And we'll start with New England as we were just talking about them. And, we were just talking, about how their pass rush have been able to turn it on in the playoffs. As you mentioned it earlier on, I mean, guys like Caleb and Jason are really looking like the first round talent they were drafted to be. 5 years ago. He's had a great postseason. Harold Landry, that kind of talent. I mean, with Sam Darnold's sort of tendency to turn the football over under pressure, they must fancy their chances to cause some havoc, right?
Yeah, they should. And the big thing that they have to do here is to get Seattle into 3rd and long, and they start by shutting down the run. That's if New England can't stop the run, I don't see how they can win this game. Robert Spillane is, I think, questionable. I think he's injured, but he is their best linebacker by far. They're going to need him and Milton Williams to play at their best to shut down Kenneth Walker, get Seattle in 3rd and long. And then Sam Darnold has to hold the ball, and then he has to think, and then you throw simulated pressures at Sam Darnold, and then Gonzalez makes big plays, and JSN runs the wrong route, or Cooper Kupp makes a mistake. It's those kind of things that I think New England has to attempt to get Seattle in unfavorable situations. Starts with shutting down the run, and then New England getting creative on defense.
On the other side of the ball, Drake May has let the football go quite a few times this year. I mean, his problem is more fumbling than interceptions, like it is for Darnold's case. He has a league high 14 fumbles this season, and it's been especially evident in the playoffs where May has already had 6 fumbles this postseason. Against this defense that is number 1 in both run and pass DVOA this season, do you see a world where the Patriots can win if May loses another fumble?
It's tough to say. Young quarterbacks try to do too much. It happens. You're in the league. Actually, Drake May feeling himself at an all-time level right now. May win the MVP. He's like, I can make a play here. And then you have Nick and Warren coming off a blind side. You have Devin Witherspoon coming on a corner blitz, and you have DeMarcus Lawrence getting another of his 8 4 fumbles of the season. I guess my point is Drake May can't press here. One mistake, maybe one fumble he can have, but if you turn the ball over twice against the Seattle defense, you're going to make it really, really hard. They have to take care of the ball if they are to win this game, and if that is being a bit conservative at times, I think Drake May needs to do that rather than force something that isn't there and have one big defensive play, and then you have Seattle defense feeling himself, and then Sam Darnold's feeling himself. Yeah, they have to sort of keep riding this momentum, play mistake-free football, and just do what they do rather than pressing.
And I mean, I personally think as well his leg is going to be so crucial in this game because I feel like Seattle are going to try. You're going to lock up those plays on the really important down distances. So it's going to be up to May to make a play, and he's done that throughout the season, throughout this postseason. I think that's going to be such a crucial element in this game as well. Where do you think Seattle's defense is vulnerable? Like where do you think New England can attack them?
Their edge rush hasn't been great in recent weeks, and that may give Drake May time because while New England's offensive line isn't great, Seattle doesn't have the edges to really, really wreck the game. DeMarcus Lawrence is capable of doing that, but not at a consistent level, right? Seattle will need one of Uchenna Nwosu, Boye Mafe, and Derek Hall step up. But where Seattle's weaknesses on defense is probably outside cornerback, while Tariq Woolen has capabilities of being an elite player, he also has capabilities of being an absolute bonehead and making a mistake like he does every single week because he just mental lapses, man. Like they're taunting against the Rams, and when you go and give up a touchdown on the very next play. They will target him, and they should target him, and he might pick the ball off. But you have chances against him because he takes chances on defense. And Josh Jobe on the other side is their third cornerback who they use outside because they had to use Witherspoon at nickel. He can be beat. He can be beaten if you have protection there. Seattle's linebackers, Drake Thomas and Ernest Jones, have improved majorly, but they do have weaknesses in coverage too. So you can target the middle of the field. Again, you just need protection. Like you have to stop Seattle's pass rush, and then you can find chances to go at the cornerbacks.
And it's the same question now for Seattle. Like where do you think they can get at New England, and how do you think they can win this game?
Yeah, so I think what we've seen from New England is a lot of cover for a lot of quarters coverage where you have all four defensive backs around 10 to 12 yards off the line of scrimmage, essentially. And that is perfect for JSN and Cooper Kupp because they like to win on intermediate routes in the middle of the field. They're going to have a lot of cushion to get open against these linebackers who aren't great in coverage at all. And then if New England goes to their cover zero looks where they have no safeties deep and they just go mano, and I mean, good luck trying to cover Rashid Shaheed one-on-one with no safety help because he will go. This guy's a 4.2 speed guy. Cooper Kupp on out routes, a real technician, and JSN, obviously, you can't cover him 1v1. So I think it's going to be real interesting how New England goes about this coverages. Do they look to change completely and just go man rather than cover zero and asking, no deep safeties? That's going to be real, real risky. They have to have one of Carlton Davis or Marcus Jones have the game of their life to win this game.
Do you think Seattle's run game will be able to have the same juice without Zach Charbonnet? You're obviously going up against, New England have a really good record against the run, as do Seattle. Obviously, it's quite an important bit about being a playoff team. How do you feel they'll be able to run the football without that extra threat of Charbonnet in there to help Kenneth Walker?
Yeah, it's interesting because Charbonnet's had a really productive season. It's like 14 touchdowns or something crazy. But Kenneth Walker is one of those running backs where he needs the bulk load of carries to get in a rhythm. It feels like when Charbonnet's in there, Walker gets in a rhythm and then gets taken out, and then he's trying to find his way in the game, and he's like pressing, he's trying to do things that he shouldn't be. Whereas when he's getting a bulk load of carries, he really, really finds himself, and he seems to be better when he's the guy. So that has been a big plus for Seattle. Having said that, New England's run defense is very, very good, and Seattle's interior offensive line is still an issue. While Grey Zabel has been good, Anthony Bradford hasn't been. As much as Seattle fans will like to tell you that he's been excellent, he hasn't. Like, I'm sorry, like he gets beat too much. And James Sundell is a good athletic center, but will get beaten as well on the interior. And New England with Barmore and Milton Williams have the capability of just shutting that down inside. So Seattle will need some Kenneth Walker magic, like we saw against Rams, where he juked Omar Speights out of his feet. We're going to need things like that from Kenneth Walker, because I do think that New England has capabilities of controlling the line inside. But I don't think Charbonnet is that big of a loss for this game. I think you'll see Kenneth Walker get the majority of the workload here.
Fascinating. Last question here before we go on to predicting the game. What worries you going up against this Patriots team?
A lot of things worry me, Sam. It's the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. A lot of things worry me, but I think the main one, as much as I have belief in Sam Darnold, it's just the idea of Sam Darnold turning back into Sam Darnold that almost everyone expects to happen. Really, making plays that he shouldn't be, not trusting his instincts, seeing ghosts, I guess. It's Sam Darnold not playing the brand of football he has all year. I think if Seattle loses this game, it's probably because Sam Darnold is pressing and not doing the things that have got him here right now. I think they need to play their brand of football and just not press and not do things that some trick plays that they've tried this season. Just cut. I've seen pictures of Cooper Kupp throwing at practice. Like, no, we don't need to do that. Like, just play simple, wide zone offensive football, and you've got a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get much worse. Seahawks Super Bowls against New England historically as well. So I'm sure you're going to be extra nervous there as well. Right, before giving our score predictions, let's first pick the spread for the last time this season. There's nothing to play for here, as I already won the title against the guests after week 18. But to round off the season, the Seahawks are 4.5-point favourites, which is actually one of the biggest spreads that we've seen in the Super Bowl in a while. Do you know the last Super Bowl to have a bigger spread than 4.5 points?
So I will probably guess the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kansas City Chiefs. I think that was a pretty big spread.
No, it was small. I think it was 4.5. So it's the same as
Okay.
There's been a couple 4.5s. Rams Bengals was another one that was 4.5. That was another 4.5. But you have to go back a couple of decades to find a Super Bowl with a bigger spread than this one. I'll give you that hint. It's it's in the noughties.
Okay, let's go with Patriots Giants.
No, that was a huge spread. I think that was 12-point spread.
Wow!
But it was that was a humongous spread. There's three. So I'll give you a hint. There's 3 years in a row, including that year, that had some of the biggest spreads we've seen in a while. The smallest of which was this Super Bowl. It's within that sort of that 07 ballpark.
So would it have been a Patriots win?
No, doesn't involve the Patriots.
Okay. Let me think. I'm struggling. Let's go. Green Bay's. No, that was 2000. Go on, tell me.
Yeah, it was Saints Colts in 2009.
Okay, I wouldn't have gone there.
Yeah, or the Colts were favored by 5 that day and didn't win. So
Wow.
yeah, it was the Saints that won. Despite the Colts being 5-point favourites that day. 4.5 points. Do you think Seattle will cover that spread?
I do. Yes. Again, I know your listeners are going to be. He's a Seahawks fan. I'm not like one of those fans who just thinks he's going to win every game. That's not me as a fan. I'm very pessimistic. But yeah, I do think Seattle cover that spread. I think they have a better team. I think DVOA massively suggests that. The schedule suggests that. The tape suggests that. Obviously, it's the Super Bowl. Anything can happen. But yeah, I do think Seattle have a better team, and I think they cover that spread, yes.
I think they will as well. Super Bowls are already close, and I think that really, suits Seattle playing in a Super Bowl. That there have been a couple recently that have been close, obviously, but it's rare that the Super Bowl is a 1-score game. And how many times have New England beaten teams by somewhat of a big margin? Not very often. They played a lot of close games, where Seattle have beaten teams quite handily quite a few times this season. So I think that does really suit them. I don't know how New England will act if maybe they're 10 points behind. I don't know how they're going to they're gonna react there. Or that means that we have both picked Seattle to win the game. What's your score prediction for this game?
Seahawks 27, New England Patriots 13. I think Seattle will score early, and then New England will reply 7-7 into halftime, and then Seahawks usually make adjustments and the offense improves exponentially in the second half, as does their defense. And I think that happens once again here.
I've gone for a very similar sort of scoreline. I've given the Patriots an extra field goal. I've gone 27-16 to the Seahawks. I feel like maybe they don't get, maybe it's, they trade in behind and they get 2 touchdowns of 2-point conversions or something like that. With the 16 points, that's what I'm thinking. 27-16 to Seattle. I'm just really looking forward to it, mate. It's gonna be a really good game again. It's one of those where because it's been such a good season, like I'm not really bothered by who wins. I don't really care about the storylines. I just want to see what happens. Really, it's one of those where, I mean, as a Dolphins fan, I mean, it would be great to see the Patriots lose, because seeing them go all the way to the Super Bowl when your franchise hasn't won a playoff game in 25 years is a bit like, them going to win their, what is it, sixth, seventh since the Dolphins have won a playoff game. It's just like, wow.
It's annoying. It feels like New England, that they deserve more of a time of being bad. It's not fair. You can't just get a new quarterback who's great this early. You got to have at least 10 years of being bad. Like, it's not fair. But unfortunately, we're here, and New England are here in the Super Bowl, and we've just got to accept that they might be back.
Yeah, for sure. It's and look, one of my best friends is a Seahawks fan, so so I hope the Seahawks do win for him as well. That'd be cool to see. Right, that's it for the podcast today. A big thank you, Charlie, for joining me today, and a big thank you to all of you listeners this season. This is my third season as host. Obviously, the podcast has been going on for many seasons before that. I personally have hosted over 100 episodes of this podcast over the last 3 seasons. It's been an honour to do that. Bring on the Super Bowl, man. Bring on the Super Bowl. Before I round out, Charlie, do you want to let everyone know where they can find your content this week?
Yeah, just quickly, Sam. Well done on another great year of a podcast, mate. Smashed it.
Cheers,
even
man.
without Wi-Fi, you find a way to get online and jump on a podcast. I'm sure listeners really appreciate it. And congrats, mate. For me, Charlie Reach PLC, Daily Mirror. I've actually had the Super Bowl off. I begged my boss to give me off. I've worked for Super Bowl every year for about 4 years. So, listen, my team's playing. We've got enough guys to cover it. Just let me have it off it. So I won't be working the game. I'll be having a few beers and enjoying it. But a lot of coverage throughout the week, a few interviews to come up, and a few more analysis pieces on my Twitter, which you can see the handle Charlie Reach PLC.
Awesome, man. Everyone go over it and read his interviews and everything. Great coverage of the sport over here, but also for readers in America as well. That's it. That is the final preview podcast of the 2025 NFL season. I've been your host, Sam Moores. This has been the Full 10 Yards NFL podcast. And the next time I will speak to you is when we will know who has won the 60th Super Bowl.